Donald Trump and the First Lady are now at his golf club in Turnberry, Scotland, leaving England and leaving everyone trying to reconcile what just happened over the last 2 days. A visit by the president filled with chaos and discord and cleanup. The interview Trump did with the Sun trashing Prime Minister May, then the desperate walk back we saw him give while standing right next to her.
So I would say I give our relationship, in terms of grade, the highest level of special. So we start off with special. I would give our relationship with the UK, and now, especially after this 2 days, with your Prime Minister, I would say the highest level of special. Now, am I allowed to go higher than that? I'm not sure. But it's the highest level of special. They're very special people. It's a very special country.
The highest level of special means I'll trash you to a newspaper, I guess. All as thousands of protesters flooded the streets of London. Bret Stephens can't stop laughing. The visit was quite the departure from the typically close rapport between the two countries. Vladimir Putin could not ask for much more. Our panel is still here. Bret, I'll give it to you because you're laughing.
Well, yeah, I mean, it just reminds me of that scene in Spinal Tap. You know, he takes it to 11. Right, the highest level of special, and it's so especially absurd given that he's like some kind of guest who ambles into your home, pees on your Persian carpet, destroys your family urn, wrecks your furniture, says send me the bill, and doesn't pay. That is the nearest.
Is it Rick James saying that he never stomped on Eddie Murphy's couch and then saying, yeah, I stomped on his couch? Is
but
that
he
what
didn't
saying?
call Eddie Murphy special after he did it. I mean, what adds to the absurdity is for him to stand there. This is the most widely circulated newspaper in England.
It's a Murdoch newspaper.
And for him to do this interview and then to stand there with her, it goes to what you said. He's a bully. He can't stand in front of someone and confront them. You know, I've marched with him for decades, and every time he sees you, he's like you, his best friend. He called me after he won the election. He does not confront you face to face.
He called me for me to get fired publicly. I had to get walked out of a rally by Secret Service. He called me like 2 weeks later and said, we should be friends.
Right.
Seriously, on the phone.
After he called for you to be fired.
After he called for me to be fired. And said,
I mean, this is who you're dealing with. So May should not go for his special designation.
Listen to the New York Times editorial. No sorry, NATO. Trump doesn't believe in allies. But in Mr. Trump's world, there no longer is any concept of alliances. Peering through Mr. Trump's twisted prism, one finds not friends and enemies, but fans and enemies. Fans are those who are loyal to you no matter what. They never expect reciprocity. Enemies are also valuable because they help you solve problems. You can assert your power by breaking them or befriending them.
There's a little bit more than that, though. I think that that's entirely correct, that that's the way he sees it. But there's the added element of the strongmen that he worships. They're not, I mean, Putin may be a fan of his. He certainly sees him as useful when it comes to keeping a leg up on the United States. I don't know if he actually likes or respects or says anything particularly great about Donald Trump, but Trump worships him. The same thing happened with him, with North Korea. He's not a fan of Trump's. He says terrible things about Donald Trump all the time, but Donald Trump
is a very honorable man.
He just worships the strong men. So, no, he doesn't believe in...
It's the man he wants to be.
He doesn't believe in our allies, but he does believe in making strategic allegiances with dictators that he wants to emulate, and that is terrifying.
I will say this. This is a story that posted today on NBC News. Pentagon goes into damage control mode to reassure NATO allies. If that sounds familiar, take a look at these headlines over the past year and a half. Pence launches Midwest damage control mission. That's July 11th. Trump officials kick into damage control mode with Canada. That's June 11th. Seeking to heal a rift, Tillerson pledges new aid to Africa. That's March 6th. Trump officials do damage control after staff turmoil. February 11th. Trump returns to crisis over Kushner as White House tries to contain it. May 2017. Sense a theme.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.